starts 12, 13, 14, and 15 out of the ninth. Main track fast, turf course is firm. We'll come back at 12:05 to reprise the changes. First race post is at 12:35. Up next, the October 20th edition of Talking Horses with Andy Serling and Anthony Stabile.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Talking Horses, presented by Saratoga Springwater. He's Anthony Stabile. I'm Andy Serling. Back from the weekend, getting ready. This is the sixth week of the meet.
We begin week number 6. Johnny and I were just talking about this. Only 2 weeks of back left.
That's right. And we'll be at
Then
Aqueduct.
we go back to Aqueduct.
Back to Aqueduct.
Back to the future.
To Aqueduct, yeah. We can actually call it Aqueduct. So that's good. We got a nice car to talk about. Nice weather, as a matter of fact. Good weather today. A little crisp. This will be a very nice weekend. Looking forward to that.
Crisp. I like that word.
Well, sort of describes it.
It is crisp out today.
It's fall. Head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, we've moved things around a little bit. We have a free $25 play plus a $200 deposit match. Use the promo code CUP25 as we inch closer to the Breeders' Cup.
Life is good, Andy.
Yes.
Life is good.
Contrary to popular opinion, he won't be entered in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile.
That's life is good, folks.
Yes, that is life is good. We've got a $15 bonus. You bet $75 or more at both Belmont and Delaware Park.
Belmont at the Big A, folks.
Belmont at the Big A. Thank you for that.
You're welcome, Andy.
Forgot where I was for a
I know.
second. It's not easy.
It's very easy. It's very easy to forget.
It's actually been a good meet to be here for us because being in the indoor studio is much preferable to a lot of chilly days. Belmont's probably like a refrigerator right now.
Kicked in early, too. Got a little chilly early.
Even in September, I agree. Yeah, it would have been a very chilly fall at Belmont. What else do we have? We have the contest, I believe, the $300 buy-in, $200 seated pool. Head over to Naira.com. There it is. Look at that. They got it up there, /contest. There you go. You know right where to go. Is that Jack Christopher? That's Gunite on the inside.
I believe that.
I like the way Travis calls it, Gunite. I think he may have.
That's a great shot, isn't it?
Don't you think Gunite is the right Gunite? It makes sense.
His name is Gunrunner.
No, I think Travis's. I like Travis's pronunciation.
I like Gunite.
I don't know what the actual pronunciation is, so I'm not sure if anybody's asked what it is. But Gunite seems to make sense. He's actually running the Perryville this weekend. I thought he was pointing towards the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, but running the Perryville. I doubt he's coming back 2 weeks later in the Breeders' Cup. And finally, today's show, America's Day at the Races, covering all the action here from 12:30 to 5. Race number 1, you've got Ocean's Reserve back, and we'll take a look at Ocean Reserve losing last time to a first-time starter, Baldassar, who came back and beat 2 rivals in an off-the-turf joke and ran 8 Beyer points slower in his next start. And Ocean's Reserve may have finally found the field he's going to boss around the track, and I guess it's bound to happen one of these days. But you also wonder if at some point his form starts to decline a little bit, and just a little bit tiresome taking a horse that's been second 4 straight times, 3 of them at short prices.
And not only at short prices, but neck, nose, neck in 3 of those 4 starts.
Yeah, I mean, he's lost to some decent horses, but he's also just sort of lost. And also last time, it's important to point out in this race, the heavy favorite in the race when he wasn't favorite, got completely eliminated at the break of that race. So his chief rival was eliminated, and he still lost, albeit to a firster who ran. I mean, he didn't run particularly well in his comeback race, but he still ran respectably, and he ran okay. Obviously, there's a story on the horse you've picked on top who's working extremely well.
Yep, there's a story. I picked the story. I mean, I thought, I didn't think there was really anywhere else to go in here, so I just took the story horse over the logical horse.
Yeah, this horse has absolutely no pedigree what to speak of.
0.
It's related to 5 horses that really couldn't do any running at all, Boys of Toscanova. So there's nothing to say this horse should be good in the pedigree, but there is a story on it. They got Flavien Prat to ride and expect this horse to take a lot of money. I'm not going to just sort of default to a first-time starter that there's going to be tips on. Those horses usually don't really pan out and they turn out to burn money. Doesn't mean he can't win, and certainly want to use him in multi-race bets, especially if you're thinking the 5 is vulnerable. I went to Tiebreaker, who I thought was the logical horse of the horses that ran. Ran only once at Monmouth, broke a length slow that race. Really had no speed, but was wide around the track. A New York bred. You wonder if maybe with a New York bred they want to get a race into the horse's belt before taking the horse over to face New York bred. So I'll take a shot that maybe this horse just needed a race first time out. Obviously going to have to improve, but doesn't have to improve that significantly in some ways to be a contender. There's nobody else I wanted. I'm not taking the 2. The barn's been kind of cold, and Refuse is another horse that's had a lot of chances and finished well behind Ocean's Reserve last time out. The second likeliest winner of the horses that have run. Race number 2, Carrick will probably be the favorite. We'll show her winning that off the turf race last time. A very slow race. To me, she's not exactly a horse I wanted to take on top, so I put her second.
Yeah, same here. She got the job done. Slow race, slow buyer. Then with a mile on 143.
She's run a lot of faster figures.
She has.
So it's not as though she hasn't run faster races. She also runs a lot of slow races.
Yeah, I think you have to worry about the fact that she went to the bench with a couple of mid to upper 60 figures, and she came back and she ran a 50 and a 49. I think, obviously.
She'll probably have to run faster in her last 2 races to get it done. She might do that. But she comes off a win in a race that's not particularly interesting. What did you like about That Is Key?
I was just hoping That Is Key. The barn seems to be not winning as prolifically as it was before we went over to Belmont Park in the early spring. But at least the barn's waking up a little bit. I would imagine this horse is going to be forward under Dylan Davis in a race that does not feature a lot of pace. I would imagine Grudge is going to go, but do we really want Grudge going a mile?
Tough to take Grudge in here.
Yeah, I would just imagine that this horse is, camped out behind Grudge and gets first run.
I will say about Grudge is, Grudge was arguably on a bad rail 2 races back. The more I watched September 25th, I think the rail in the dirt was not the place to be. And then did catch a wet track last time at Parks and, wasn't even able to make the lead. So Grudge might not be as ridiculous, frankly, as she looks at first glance. I won't be surprised if Grudge outruns her odds in here. This trainer did win with a big long shot wiring the field last week. And I'll tell you something, I don't think you want to take too big a stand against anybody that's a big price in here because, I don't like the horse that you picked. I have her 3rd. I just think her races at the Naira tracks recently aren't very good. And I don't even think her races at Finger Lakes are very good. But I guess she's not impossible. I took Linny Kate. I just thought she was the other horse in here. She's not really dropping. She's running at the level she was claimed. She ran against a better field at Saratoga 2 races back and ran well enough to win here. And I thought overall her body of work just made sense in this race. Don't really love her. Just didn't want Carrick. So I'm more about Linny Kate here, but this is not exactly the most compelling of races.
No, it is not.
Race number 3 is a funny race. And I see you're defaulting to Chad Brown's horse. I'm not really sure why. I got a stat for Chad Brown with these Europeans, which is not particularly strong. His foreign shippers off of substantial layoffs, basically a little more than 8 months. The numbers are bad. I used first-time Lasix. There's one he ran without Lasix that lost. So they all take a ton of money. And they haven't, there's nothing wrong with winning at 23%. There's something wrong with winning 23% when you're 3-2 or 8-5. And she's going to be short here, and I don't know, are we just going to assume she's going to win?
I have...
In a paceless race?
Yeah, I've just kind of had my fill of the rest.
Well, you also pick a lot of Chad Brown horses, so it's not as though it's not like you've just defaulted to this.
No.
You default to Chad Brown quite often. It's not as though you've decided that the others, because the others have run just fine. And it's not as though any of her races over in Europe are particularly spectacular. Now, maybe she'll need Lasix. It's certainly always a possibility. Maybe a little firmer turf will help her in here. Certainly possible. But she's going to be an awfully short price.
Yeah, I know she's going to be short.
When the last time Javier won a race for Chad Brown? It's got to be going back quite a ways. Just rode a few horses for him lately. I don't have a problem with her.
The form has him riding over 100 horses for him the last 2 years.
Well, he did, but the last year he didn't. He just rode the first one he'd ridden since I think around November, early December, just the other day. As far as she can win, I'm just not thrilled. I think a lot of people are going to take Mr. Karras in here because she is on paper the controlling speed in this race. And I get that. And we'll take a look at her race 2 back. My problem with her is she was absolutely pathetic last time out. And I'm not convinced she's a 1.125 horse by any stretch of the
I don't
imagination.
think she wants any part of a 1.125.
Yeah, I think there's a, I mean, to be fair, one of the bigger figures she ever ran was a 1.116, where she was drawing off to win at Monmouth. So to say she doesn't want any part of it, I don't think it's conclusive. I don't think it's going to be shocking when she wins this race, but I don't know. You know, she just seems like he's run her shorter more often. And now, does she have a pace advantage?
You know, I put her third, thinking the same thing you did. Right. This is also, you know, and again, you and I get into this argument. I know she comes out of faster races, but they've never put her on the lead.
Right.
And there, I mean,
I'm sorry.
There are some,
which horse in this race
Andy,
did you put in the lead?
I do not disagree with anything
She wasn't
you're
put in the
saying,
lead because she was running in race with faster paces.
But just because you and I think they should be on the lead, it doesn't put them on the lead. Now, she should be on the lead. 1,000,000% she should be on the lead. But I don't know. Does this barn ever put anything on the lead?
I don't know.
That's what I mean. So it's
I
hard.
handicap horses, not
Yeah,
barns.
I know, but you almost have, in a race like this, I would, if I knew she was
If they don't go to the lead with her, then don't bother running the
I
backstretch, turn her
don't
around and
disagree
head
with
back to
everything you
Belmont
say.
Park.
Listen, if I knew she was going to the lead, I'd have picked her. But I don't have any confidence she'll be on. She's supposed to be on the lead. Common sense dictates that she should be on the lead. I have no confidence that she'll be on the lead.
Okay, that's fine, but you have to handicap using a certain amount of logic about situations, and she rates to be the speed. Now,
would you be surprised if
Anthony,
Pratt got aggressive and put Creative
I'm not
Carol on the
surprised
lead?
if the 2 wires the field and goes 27.54 around
I thought
here,
maybe the
so.
6 would be the other horse. I just don't like her as a horse. I thought maybe Pratt would get aggressive
she has
and go.
absolutely no speed whatsoever.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of those horses make leads around
He
there.
better bring a big engine out with him to be in front in this race, because unless there's an incident where the 1 through 5 fall down at the start, it's very, very tough for her to be in the lead. She's never displayed 1 iota of speed in her entire career, but I suppose anything's possible. Around here, nothing surprises me as far as pace. As far as Wicked Groove goes, who I picked on top, her last turf race, she got a good trip. There's no question about it. She benefited from a couple others not getting as good a trips, but I thought she's a horse that would be forward in here, that Manny has been very successful being forward, and I thought she would be, if not on the lead, very close, that Manny would give her the right kind of aggressive ride, because she has enough speed where if they want, they can be a little more forward with her. I thought her turf races were just fine, and I just thought she fit reasonably well, and she'd be a big price in here. And I don't trust Mr. Karras. Community Justice doesn't seem quite good enough, and I didn't want to take Lady Day on top. But Lady Day may win this race. I'm not going to take a big stand against her. I just don't think she does a lot for me at even money. You know, taking unknowns.
She'll be short.
Taking unknowns at short prices is a bad move, and as we see, this is not something that's worked well for Chad Brown in the past. Race number 4 starts to pick 6 furlongs. What do we do here?
I went to St. James.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought St. James' best races came going short. Fresh gelding, haven't seen the horse for a few months. Dropping for the first time. Big rider up grade to Manny Franco. Be a square enough price to take a shot with this horse today.
Well, I'm not sure I agree the best races were going short, but okay, it's quite a turn back from 7 mile and 3/8 to 6 furlongs.
This horse was really good on the debut, and I thought the 7/8 race was good.
Wait a second, this was not really good.
Good enough. It was his first race over a turf course.
I would say he wasn't terrible, objectively, but there's a big gap between wasn't terrible and really good. You're going to rate that a really good performance?
Yeah,
How was
I thought
Carpe's Dream done?
I didn't think he had a particularly good trip that day, and it was over a course where
He
you know
doesn't
that
have any
aqueduct
speed.
course.
How far back is he going to be?
He's going to be.
though?
He's going to be. He's yeah. Well, you kind of hope the being a gelding mitigates that a little bit. But I mean, how
He
much
has
can it
no
help him?
speed, and the 7 furlong race he ran, he was awful that day. That was a huge pace that completely collapsed, and he was in the back of the pack, and he never did any real
I mean,
running.
the drop's his biggest. The biggest. His biggest pro is the drop.
Hey, listen, I've got him third. I won't fall out of my chair if he wins. I don't like Charleston Strong. Take out a trainer stat for Mike Maker for him. 6 to 12 month layoffs on turf sprints. He's 2 for 30, for what it's worth. Is he the morning line favorite here?
I don't have the. I got my PPs
We'll see
a week
what.
ago.
Yeah, I forgot to get a program.
No idea. Yeah, I left my
I,
program in my office.
I thought that David made him the favorite. I don't
Yep,
believe
2 to
he'll
1.
be favored.
Yep, he's 2 to 1. The 8's 5 to 2.
I think upper level will be favored in this race, and I think he's much the worst to beat. I showed his last race in the dirt, even though it's a dirt race, because he's run well enough in the turf. He runs his race 3-back in the turf. He's going to probably win. I don't know about 2-back, but 3-back he's going to win. But this was interesting because he was right down, these are path or path off the rail, but he spent almost the entire race on the rail last time, and this was a dead rail track. I thought his last race was actually very good. And I showed it to highlight the fact that he ran well last time, and it indicates his form is better than that disaster 2-back. I just thought he was the speed, and he was super logical in here. I'm not in love with him, but I thought he was way the horse to beat. Well, you don't like him at all.
I can't take the barn at a short price. Because like you,
They run 5 horses now.
I don't know what happened 2-back over the year. It's been a tough year.
Yeah, he has no horses. He's won 42 horse starts this year.
I don't know what happened 2-back. The fact that they dropped this horse in immediately, I did not like that.
But he ran well last time.
But I thought he ran well enough 2-back. 3-back.
But he ran well last time.
Yeah, he did.
Well, he's a $50,000 2-year-old purchase. What are they supposed to do with him? Keep running him maiden special weights? Trying to win a race. I mean, they're trying to be realistic. You're talking like he was a candidate for the Breeders' Cup Sprint.
Oh.
I mean, he is who he is. What maiden special weight does he rate to win? You know what I'm saying?
I guess.
I mean, Jimmy's not going to. Jimmy's trying to win a race, for God's sakes. The poor guy's got 3 wins this year. Jimmy Jerkins used to have 3 wins in every month, if not more. And he's got no horses, and he's trying to win a race, and the connections are trying to win a race. They have to pay the day rate, and they're trying to win a race. And by the way, they ran 40. Nobody claimed him last time.
Yeah.
So it's not like, what are they really risking? I think he's a lot. The horse that I think the most scary horses in here is Proven Hope. Because if he runs back to his 1 turf sprint, he's going to win this race. I'm not sure how you could possibly leave him out of your top 4. I understand he was terrible last time and he's dropping, but his turf sprint will make him extraordinarily tough in this race. I think to me it's 6s and 8s. I got a little 1-year horse, but man, that's a tough turn back to take with a horse with absolutely no speed. We'll see what happens. Kicking off the pick 6. We've seen some goofy results at times. Looks a little chilly at Keeneland. Race number 5. Number 5. What did you do here? Closing deal. Rudy.
That's Rudy.
Well, it is his first starter today. I mean, you got to get the first Rudy starter. You're big on Finger Lakes today. Got 2 Finger Lakes winners on top in your choices.
Yeah.
Wow.
This was the push the button and jump race. I didn't know what to do in here. I knew I wasn't. No, Manchin's going to be even money in here.
No, she's not. There's no way.
She's going to be 7-5.
I don't know about that.
Who are they going to bet in here?
Your horse.
And they'll bet Mott a little bit.
And they'll bet Mott. Yeah.
I just thought closing deal was logical. She'll be. I would imagine just off the pace.
Shocked if she wins.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's Finger Lakes form, but I thought a race to Boss Cara 3-back was okay. I don't know what happened in Saratoga, but you could say that about 92% of the horses Rudy ran in Saratoga. So the bad race in Saratoga sandwiched around a couple of races.
Not exactly setting the place on fire here, though.
I understand that, but at least the Barnes has woken up a little bit, and he's winning. Yeah, right. Rudy at 12% is not good, but Rudy is better than 3%.
He's hitting the board at 36%.
I have no argument
Barnes is
for
not
that.
exactly doing that well.
I didn't say it was. It's doing better than it was. And,
she has the speed.
She's supposed to be close.
I don't love Manchin either. Maybe she will be super short Manchin. Maybe you're right. She caught my eye. The race 2-back was good. We'll take a look at it. Obviously, last time was a disaster. It was a muddy seal track, and it was a way, way better field. She really had no chance in that last race.
I didn't realize you were talking about the 5. I thought you were talking about somebody else. You said she caught my eye.
Oh, I see, yeah. Well, and this was a dreadful field she beat, but she did get it done and got a 71 buyer. I don't think you should ignore that when you're saying Manchin's going to be a heavy favorite, and she ran a 71 and a 68.
Yeah.
So I'm not convinced that Manchin will be as heavy a favorite as you are.
David has this horse 6-1.
Yeah, I think he's wrong about that. I think he's wrong about a couple lines.
So I just think she spun her wheels in the mud last time.
Well, I don't know about that, but forgetting about that, then why don't you have her on top then?
Because because I think that doesn't mean that she couldn't have just found the right bunch of horses 2 starts back, and she's just not good.
So I looked through these horses, and none of them did a whole lot for me, and I thought Dazzy had some interesting things to recommend. Moderate numbers would turn backs, okay numbers first time for a tag for Jimmy Ryerson, both of which are true. It's a horse that ran a figure first time out, going 6.5 furlongs.
Timmy Hills.
It's Timmy Hills, excuse me. I don't know why I keep saying Jimmy. I was thinking Jimmy Ryerson. Timmy Hills, thank you. This horse obviously ran a race first time out that could win this race.
Yeah.
The
Oh, for
form is
sure.
not good, you know, but the truth is, I think this horse is probably going to be okay doing short. And in 2 races short were both sealed tracks. Then you have a turf race, and then you had a stake race after a big maiden win. So the only times this horse has been on a dry dirt track since the first couple races have been going 1.70 miles. And there's some difference of opinion on whether or not the September 3rd rail at Monmouth was bad. I thought there's an argument that the rail could have been bad that day. My friend who plays Monmouth, he thinks the track was fair that day, and I respect his opinion. He said Thoroughgraph's having a dead rail. I frequently disagree with Jerry on his rail notations, but there at least seems to be some ambiguity, and this horse was down in the rail last time out. So
That was a hell of a catch.
I'm
That
very,
was really good.
I'm very nimble, very nimble. I'm ready to go to sleep. And I just thought this horse's run. I mean, ran a 55 buyer, probably going too far.
This horse runs her first race. She'll be right there, and she's going to get lost in the shuffle off a dirty form.
Yeah, I thought she was a little interesting in a race where, man, there's nobody in here that does a whole. I mean, put it this way. She's the only horse I can bet in this race. I can't bet any of these. Now, listen, if she caught my eye with 6-1, I thought she'd be about 3-1, 7-2 in here. David's probably right.
See,
I
I think David kind of agrees with me, which is scary. I think Monchin's going to take a lot of money.
Closing deals is going to be the second. Oh, yeah, the speed. Okay, that makes sense. It's no IRAD, so it's harder to figure out the lines. You don't know who's going to be 2 points lower than they should be. He must be at Keeneland. Is he at Keeneland? Or is he suspended? He got a suspended.
A bunch of guys got 3 days.
He might be serving those days this week. I think I read it was like 20th, 21st.
And maybe Jose? Did all 3 of them get popped?
Joel got it for that phantom DQ, right?
That was the continuation bet. Ridiculous DQ, you got to give him days.
Oh, yeah. The worse the call,
right.
automatic, right. If the call stinks, you got to give him days. You got to back yourself up. I mean, it's really.
We talk about the trainers and everything. There's a steward's handbook too, you know.
That's that is one of my favorite dumb things in racing, is giving a guy days when you make a bad call to justify your bad call. It happens a good 90% of the time, maybe higher, right?
Remember the first time when my dad had Pazua, one of the 73 times he had his book, he won a bottom level.
Well, they took Pazua down. If Pazua passed gas during a race, he got disqualified.
And they took the horse one by like 7 or 8 lengths. He bothered Herbie Castillo, and they had to leave the horse up.
Not as much as Herbie Castillo bothered me.
They had to leave the horse up. I mean, the horse just galloped.
Right.
And
they gave him a week. Well, my favorite, I've told this story.
Nobody had ever seen it before. They were like, how do you do that? The horse went. It was like,
my favorite story involved Pazua, and I think I've told it before. It's when Dave Hicks was a steward here. And Dave was a very nice man. I always really liked Dave. And I got taken out for $100. So I wasn't exactly steaming. But I got taken out from second. I think Rick Violet won the race. The horse on the inside came out. There were 3 across the track. The horse on the inside came out, banged into Pazua, who's in the middle, who came out and hit the horse outside.
They took Pazua down.
Pazua finished second. They took him down. I can tell you, it was actually laughable. Thankfully it wasn't enough money to get for the steam to come out of my ears. And I called up the stewards and I got Dave on the phone. I said, Dave and I were friendly, and I said, Dave, why'd you take that horse down? He said, well, he banged into the horse outside of him. I said, yeah, but he banged into him because the other horse banged into him before his mount. He goes, correct. I go, wait a second. So you're acknowledging that the horse fouled you? He's yes. I said, okay, thank you. Appreciate the honesty.
I think my father got fined for that one. I think there were some words.
Miracle I didn't get fined for it.
I'm trying to remember when this was, but I believe.
I can remember I was sitting in my apartment. I remember I was sitting on my couch watching it.
Was it like 96?
I think it was. It might have been around then. Yeah. How long ago has Dave been not working here?
Yeah.
You know? No, it was probably after I worked here in the 90s. So it was probably 97, 98.
I don't know if my dad had him anymore.
Probably 97, 98, somewhere in there. Anyway, we'll take a break. We'll be back for the last 5 races.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
We're back.
Hello.
Thanks to our friends at Saratoga Water. Race number 6. You know, I went to a horse that if she runs her last race, she's going to be very tough to beat. And we'll take a look at Master of the Tunes winning. My Lips Are Sealed was a mediocre fifth in there. This was not Dylan's fault. He had an outside post. He never was able to save any ground. He had to make the first move in a wide move, and Junior's sitting there in the light green, just sitting chilly down in the pocket. He's able to come out and nip her at the wire. And I saw the race. I watched outside near the connections, and I said, boy, you were so unlucky to lose that race. She ran so much the best. And the problem with her is she was best last time at 11-1. She's going to be a fraction of that price today. And she kind of was supposed to get the money. You're counting on her having it happen 2 times in a row. I'll tell you something interesting about her. There may be an argument for her. I don't have any scientific proof on this stuff, and this may just be a lot of hot air and the kind of thing you would say, and I'd say, oh, you're an idiot. But is she a horse that just gets a little bit better in the fall? Because last year she kind of came around late in the year, too. And she is 1 for 16.
You are the second person that said that to me in the last 18 hours.
Yeah, there's an argument that she's a horse that's a little
Can't believe you just said that
better
to me.
than. Well, there is that
I
argument.
had 3 texts on this horse. I had 3 people ask me
Well, no,
yesterday if I was...
you're absurd to have left her out. And
this
there's
horse.
absolutely no chance that She's a Mia wins this race. I don't know why you have her in second. But I just, feel like she should have gotten the money last time. But if she gets the right trip, she's going to be tough to beat. What do you like about what Love looks like? How can she win this race?
I think she brings consistency, and she's
she's consistently too slow to win.
Well,
No, she's consistently not good enough.
there we go.
I mean, when she beat Eugenia, who got drowned by She's a Mia, who can't win this race. If you get the 3:10 exacta home, it might be, seriously, that might go into the lucky playbook of all time. What races do they have that are good enough, Ann?
Listen, I like what Love looks like on the come.
Based on
no
what?
question about it. No
Off a
question
win
about it.
for Todd Pletcher at 3 or 4 to 1 on the
Yeah,
come.
but she's at the very least, she's in some sort of form.
She
has
got
some
great trips. All she's got is great trips in her
but
races.
She finds her good trip.
Nah, baloney. That's baloney. That's a terrible argument for a horse at a short price. But that's a terrible argument to take a horse at a short price. You want to take a horse at 15 to 1.
Hold on, how short do you think she's going to be?
Well, she is the second choice on the line.
I guess. I didn't have the morning line. I thought she'd be in the 6 to 1 range.
Oh, yeah, those Todd Pletcher horses.
Well, I figured
go.
Classic Lady would be short. They always bet She's a Mia.
Anybody that bets She's a Mia, seriously, you need to really need to reconsider your entire life if you're betting She's a Mia.
She finally got a decent trip last time.
Yes, she got a perfect trip against a terrible field where they scratched one of the most interesting horses, and now she draws post 10 against better horses. I mean,
she's going to need some help up front, and I think there's enough. I think there's enough help up front here. I do. I think between Palace Gossip.
Oh, they'll be blazing out there.
I'm not saying
you think at 22
blazing.
and 4, 45 and 3. You think? Maybe 109 and 4.
You're really an idiot.
I'm an idiot. You come up here every day and say there's going to be a pace here, there's going to be a pace there. There are never any paces.
I think they're going to be flying.
Never
I think
any
she'll
paces.
get a little help up front.
No, there's no help up front.
All right.
No help up front.
Okay.
That'll help Classic Lady, frankly. And My Lips Are Sealed.
You put a second, I put a third. Man,
You've got a horse second.
Don't you feel like you've had enough of Classic Lady?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to show her Mount Vernon. I don't really love her last race, but I think there is one thing that's worth noting in her last race.
Isn't she supposed to win this race?
Yes, Anthony. She lost to Giacosa.
I know that.
You picked What Love Looks Like over She's a Mia, and you said to me, shouldn't Classic Lady have won this race against Giacosa? Yes, she should have won this race. This was a black mark against her.
Is Giacosa running at the end of the month?
I don't think she's run again since this race.
I don't think that's what I'm asking.
She ran super in here, by the way. I don't think she's run again. I hope she comes back, but I think this, and she ran super to beat her. No, yes, Classic Lady should have won, but give me a break. She was close to the pace, which came apart last time out. She draws well on the inside. She is way the horse to beat dropping down. Clement's numbers off the first time for a tag on turf, for general numbers, not very good. I think she's the horse to beat. I'm going to take the 9. She'll be a bit of a price. I thought they were the right 2 horses in here. We'll see what happens in race number 6. Kicks off the late pick 4. Now, I do have a big disagreement about this race coming up, the 7th race.
With who?
David has Silver Strand, the 4th choice in here.
Oh, wow. Really?
I'm not sure she'll be favored over Baba. I'd bet a lot of money she'll be a shorter price and 2 a T. Now, I will say, if she is the fourth choice in here, she'll probably be last. And I understand she has 2 bad races, but she also has this debut race where she beat a bunch of stakes horses like Sarah Parker and Shalimar Gardens and legitimate race horses. Take a look at this race in the slot. Second horse, 6 points better next start. Sarah Harper, 15 points better. Fourth horse, actually was on turf, improved, was on turf. Fifth horse, improved 6 points in her next start. Now, she went completely the wrong way in her next 2 starts, and obviously that's a concern. And she now hasn't been seen in a while, and I'm going to show you a stat for Bill Mott that's not exactly exciting with his horses off of layoffs. But, I mean, anybody really going to take 2 a T overly seriously?
I'd like to know what happened. I mean, I wonder if this. She looks like a horse that probably had the tieback. I don't know anything
Yeah,
about that.
had a problem breathing or something. That makes sense.
What it looks,
that makes sense.
That's what it looks like to me.
That makes sense.
But I don't. You know, I'll tell you one thing though, Andy. It wasn't just a tieback because she's been gone a long time for just that.
Right. No, that's
She's gone 11 months.
No, that's very fair. Yeah. It could have been.
But
more.
if she runs her debut and she gets a little improvement, she's gonna crush these horses. Where is she?
No, hang on a second.
If she needs to improve, she needs to improve.
She doesn't. She's the interesting horse in the race because, I mean, Baba. We'll show Baba beating 2 a T back at Belmont.
Baba really going to be the favorite in here? Wow. I thought 2 a T would. I
honestly think the outside horse will be favored.
You think she's going to be favored?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I'm not sure. I don't know what to do because this was a very good race by Baba.
Yeah, it was.
You know, track was fair that day. She didn't have some big advantage, and she ran. But the rest of the races aren't very good.
No.
And she didn't have speed last time out. She's tricky. She is the speed. Chasing Carroll probably stalk her, but she is the speed. I thought of the ones with recent form, she's the one to beat. Why do you like 2 a T? I don't like her at all. I don't think she gets much pace to close into. I just think she's a suck-up type. I know she ran big 2 back. I don't know what to do with this barn, though, because their horses run with such
like flip a coin.
randomness.
It's like flip
There's
a coin.
it's not even flip a coin, because most of the time they don't run at all. It seems like they'll randomly run a huge race, and then they'll run terribly. And I don't know what to do with them. I mean, she ran a huge 2 back. She got a big pace to close into, but she blew the brake and she ran well.
Yeah.
But she got a very big pace to close into, but she ran.
They were flying up.
Then
front.
last time, she didn't really do much running last time. Moderate amount of running, lost to a better horse. I mean, I don't see how Silver Stand has a bigger price than Snicket, for instance. It's probably David giving me a hard time. It's not. I mean, Snicket. She didn't win when she was in good form.
Yeah. No, she won't. I mean,
She wins, I have to lose.
You're 100% right, though. If Snicket's a shorter price than Silver Strand, you could just cancel your bets.
You would think that I feel that way. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Silver Strand will be 7 to 2 or 4 to 1, and she'll win by 3, and I'll think it was one of those weird moments where it just seemed too obvious. I'll be honest. I wasn't going to pick Silver Strand. I thought it was too obvious.
I mean, maybe Baba could just wire the field.
Baba can wire the field.
Yeah.
That's why I got her second. I think the winner will be the 2 or 6 in here, personally.
Okay.
We'll see how it plays out. Race number 8. So I'm dying to know why you like the same horse as me in this race.
You picked this horse?
I'm dying to know why you like the same horse as me in this race.
Oh, I thought I was being a little snarky with this horse.
Okay, I'm dying to know why you like this horse.
Well, I just wanted to. This was more for me. You obviously sound like you have
I actually have a reason. I'm curious if you have one.
This was addition by subtraction for me.
Okay, why do you like him? I don't want to hear any more. I didn't like anyone else. Why do you like him?
Well, I feel like the horses he's run against in his 2 sprints, when he got put up for the maiden.
That was a horrendous race.
It was a horrendous race. I felt like the other sprint race, he just ran against so much better.
Okay, he got beaten 10 lengths.
I feel like he ran so much better. They put a little speed. He put a little speed into him last time.
Well, it was going long. He's a sprinter.
And I think he set up for a good effort on the cutback. And to be honest with you, I don't want the rest of these horses. I thought he'd be. I will say this: when I picked this horse, I thought he'd be in the 10 to 1 range, and David has him the 3rd choice. So.
Well, Anthony, he's running figures of 67 and 70. Who in here is running these numbers? I'm sorry.
Well, I figured they would.
Who do you think they would bet strongly in here?
The 2 horses David has shorter than him, for sure. Eddie the Great has some decent figs, albeit going long.
No, they're the same, going long. And his recent figs are the same as his recent figs. I mean, to think he would be a huge price.
I thought Sudavalo.
Here's the reason I think somebody would like this horse. In his last race, he went to the lead on an honest pace that completely fell apart. And he didn't even run that badly, running 5th, beaten few. No, hang on. Don't show this, please. Please don't show this yet. Please go back. Please. Let me get to it. I'm sorry, guys. Let me get to it. That's why I was trying to say it before. So last race, he actually ran well. Fast pace, race collapsed, ran well. Probably not really a router. Time before that, he was 2 to 3 wide around the racetrack, chasing the pace in a day you needed to be on the rail. He didn't even run that badly in that race. Now the race we're going to show here. We're going to show the start, and we'll show the pan and the head-on. And he is the number 10 in this race. So he breaks towards the outside. So you're going to see him getting sort of completely steadied back. Right in there, he's the one in orange. And we're going to show you the head-on and show you what exactly happened, because he got absolutely slammed. It'd be nice if we had real head-ons, but that's another story. He comes in, he bangs that horse, and then he gets pushed out and just completely. The other horse, the 8-horse, 2 pads inside, came out. The other horse came into him. He just got into a boatload of trouble. A little bit his fault because he came in, but regardless, trouble. And then when they come into the stretch, we'll look at the pan, look at him back there behind horses, okay?
Yellow hat.
He has absolutely nowhere to go whatsoever. And he's also out in the 3-path the whole way. And while the horse outside him is rallying, he can't get outside because his nose is inside the horse's tail, and he tries to go in, and he's just completely gives up on it at this point. He never had a chance to get out in this race. And also, it's important to note that this was very late in the meet, but we had taken the rails down this day. This was the day of the Belmont Derby. And the rails came down, and all of the running on the inner turf course was done on the inside, which will end up being a very, very expensive thing for Classic Causeway. It will deny him a chance to actually be in the races that he should be in. This horse has got nothing but excuses. Now, the problem is his maiden win stinks, and he's never finished first in a race. Having said that, he actually seems to be greatly improved since going to Jimmy Ryerson's barn. It just doesn't show because he's had one excuse after another in his races, and now he gets into a field where, okay, Meseta is kind of the horse to beat. He's a failure in all ways with no real speed, trying to go short for the first time. He might win, but he's not exactly enticing. Goldquist Stakes. I mean, the only reason that he ran second in a mile in that race was it was a gold rail, and he was able to set the pace, and a slow pace at that. I don't know where his first race came from, but he's a one-hit wonder in my book. He's Norman Greenbaum once again. You lost that debate, by the way. Eddie the Great. He's another one, like Meseta. He's not even that good, and he's turning back. Yeah, I won't be shocked if he runs okay, but you really care about him? Okay, who knows? Maybe Fenway will be a turf horse. There just isn't really. There's turf pedigree, though. The second dam is turf pedigree. I will say that. I even think that On Our Way Boys ran okay last time out, the number 10. That race wasn't bad. The problem is all the other races are terrible. The bottom line is it's a horrifically bad field. And the horses that are the horses to beat, like the 1 and 6, who knows if they're going to be at all efficient at all going sprinting, and you know that can run well sprinting, and he's got a boatload of excuses. I don't know what price he'll be, but he's a very, very logical horse, in my opinion. Race number 9. Race number 9 is a tough race. And I have no argument that Dreamful, the horse you have on top, is the horse to beat in here. But she is 1 for 13, with some short prices in there, Andy. And 7 seconds and thirds. We can show her race at Churchill Downs. Her last turf race is 2 back. Have at it.
Yeah, you know, I thought one of the keys here was the barn leaving her in on the dirt last time. To me, it seemed like they wanted to get the race into her. Thought it would be a beneficial race. I mean, her 2 turf races, 2 and 3 back, make her very, very tough in here. I don't think anybody in here has run a race close to that. Maybe Peg's AK Girl last time at Colonial, but I thought if she ran one of her last 2. She knocked the little bit of rust she had off from the layoff off on the dirt last time.
But she still doesn't win. But this race that we just showed, she was down on the inside, and horses were not running particularly well that had inside trips to the turf at Churchill. I got no problem with her. She's the horse to beat. I don't no problem. She's also going to be 6 to 5, 7 to 5. So I don't need to jump on her at that price. But I don't disagree with you. She's way the horse to beat in this race. There's no argument against it. I mean, I'm not going to, as you say, they ran her last time in the dirt. She was very clever bet at 8 to 5. If you bet her at 8 to 5, you really should be.
She was terrible.
Should still be
was one of the
you should be in the
worst
penalty
price.
box.
Yeah,
she should have been 18 to 1.
Yep.
I agree about Peg's AK Girl. You have second. She ran well last time.
She woke up last time out of nowhere. I mean, that race is out of nowhere, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't disagree. We'll take a look at it. My problem is it happened Colonial. She runs her maiden race at Saratoga, and I bet her that day. She has no chance to get any piece of this race. But she ran last time.
But you could also say that the Saratoga race maybe was an indication she was waking up because that was so much better than anything she had run.
No. She had excuses in her other races. She met a horrendous field, got a great ride from Tyler Gaffalione, and just got up to win. No. Her race 2 back was awful. This time was good. Now, second off a layoff. Yeah. But she's got to do it here. I think the 2 interesting horses, if you're trying to beat 3 particularly, are the one Lady of Thoriton. Where is Thoriton? Do we know?
No clue.
We really should find out, don't you think? You ever watch Dairy Girls on Netflix, by the way? Seriously? Watch Dairy Girls on Netflix.
Okay.
Dairy Girls is hilarious. I don't know why I thought of that, but I don't think this is not Irish.
Well, you speak of her. I'll find out where this place is.
Her last race, she did not exactly get the best of trips in there, never near the rail, always out of position in there. Excuse me, draws down inside. That race against Runaway Rockette was actually a pretty solid effort. I don't know if she's good enough, but I think she's going to outrun her odds, a horse that can run better. I mean, I guess maybe later is a little bit interesting, but I don't know. She won that race 2 back on a complete collapse. Except Temptation, to me, is the interesting horse in here. She's got no speed, which obviously doesn't excite me, except the thing about this race, and the reason that Dreamful's vulnerable, is on paper, there's plenty of speed in this race.
Yes.
And Dreamful does not rate to get
pace.
exactly the trip that she wants. So I think that makes her a little vulnerable, and I think this should be an honestly run race. And of course, like Temptation, she has just been running against horses that are in a different world than these, and it's not as though she doesn't have at least a little recency that puts the ballpark. I know. She's 1 for 19. I get it. She's not exactly kind of to be excited about, but she's also never run against this level because these are essentially claimers. Did you find out?
Yeah. It's a town in Nottingham, England.
Is that where Friar Tuck was from?
Population, that's population of 112.
Really? Well, so 111 plus the Lady of Thoriton. 110 plus Lady of Thoriton and Friar Tuck.
Right.
What about Robin Hood? Does he count?
I don't know where he's from.
Was Marion there?
Maid Marian?
Anyway, I think that Accept Temptation is a reasonable alternative for a horse who's just running against better horses in here. There is one of the great turnbacks, though, of all time in here. Solib.
No blinker. No, she will not
2
wear
miles
blinkers
here
today.
on Saturday. 5 days ago, ran 2 miles at Far Hills. I saw Kirk Wyckoff while I was up in Saratoga, and I said, you and Jordan are determined to become successful in the jump game.
From mini golf to the jump game.
Apparently, Jordan has an army of entrants lined up for the big jump races at down in Aiken.
Really?
Yeah, there's a big thing going on with that. Yeah, Jordan's going to be big in the jump game.
Good.
Yeah, I like those guys a lot. I hope they do well. I love the jump game. I think it's one of the cool things in Saratoga. It's a great tradition of Saratoga, and you have a lot of people that's what they do, and they come to Saratoga and that's their thing. And I love that we continue that. I think it's important to keep the traditions going, especially and the jump. I don't love that I don't handicap the jump races. I don't really bet them, but I enjoy watching them. And his snap position was cool. He's obviously hit the end of the game, but it's fun, and I always enjoy talking about him with Joe Clancy and stuff and learning a little bit about him. It's a fun part of the game, and I love that. I mean, that's something when I was a kid, we had the jump races there, and I'm so glad that we've continued to run those jump races. When I was a kid, they didn't use the inner turf course when I first started going to the track at Saratoga. They just used it for the jumps.
I was talking to Lafitte about this on
They didn't care about this at all.
They
did not run. They started running mile turf races in the mid to late 70s, and horses started going through the rail top of the stretch. Bayapa and Angel, 5 in front at 8-1 top of the stretch through the rail.
Wow. I was talking to Lafitte about this.
Noted jump
three
expert.
of the five grade 1s on the circuit are run at the NYRA tracks.
Which say again?
There's 5 grade 1s in America for the jumpers. 3 of them
to
are
be
run
fair,
here.
they can wave their magic wand and declare any of them a grade 1.
I'm just saying. Pretty
Saratoga.
cool, right?
Saratoga.
And then the Lonesome Glory. We ran it here this year.
I saw Lonesome Glory run. No, we always run Lonesome Glory here. We run the turf
We're at
riders.
Belmont.
Yeah.
Here.
Oh, here in New York. Yeah.
Andy.
I saw Lonesome Glory run. I saw Flatterer run. I saw all those horses run. It's good horses. Anyway, that's today's card. Looking forward to today's weekend. Looks like a good weekend for a change. And there's not to get rained off the turf for most of the weekend like last week.
Be nice.
Yeah, I know. We have not had, listen, we had great luck in Saratoga. You didn't get it sometimes, but obviously weather and luck have not been in our favor this year. Head over to NYRA Bets if you're not a member. Use the promo code CUP25. We'll match the $200 initial deposit and give you a $25 free play, obviously related to the Breeders' Cup, coming up in just 2 weeks from tomorrow.
2 weeks from tomorrow.
That's right.
Future starts
15
Friday,
days.
Andy.
15 days, the Rears Cup. We have $15 bonus. You bet 75 or more on our track or Delaware, you get a $15 bonus. What else do we have? We have
Contest.
$2,000 seated pool, $300 buy-in, all cash and seat prizes. And last but not least, we got to head upstairs, 12:30 to 5. America's Day at the Races.
I'll come relieve
All right.
you at about 2:50.
Have a great day. Johnny I up next to reprise the scratches and changes.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.